Welcome back to the homestead. All right, it's been a while, but you know what? A lot has happened. We just had baby number 9. Congratulations to me from me for this Father's Day. All right, I just want to get right into this video because guys, since the last time we talked, a lot has happened. Now I'm going to start off with the roses. Now it's not always roses and butterflies, baby. So the rest of this video is going to be a little bit gloomy, but you know what? You need to hear it. You know, something that is really heavy on my mind, and I told you in the last video, the video on the potatoes, like this year, here I am, the guy with the 100-foot off-grid greenhouse. And what am I doing? I felt very prompted and confident that my message to you and my message to myself is I needed to focus on potatoes, carrots, and onions. And so since we talked last, there's this big headline. Suddenly all of these farmers in Idaho that are those that are using groundwater to irrigate. So suddenly the government came in, so the governor of Idaho, in this big water war. Now there's two sides of the story. So in the comments, go ahead and put your opinion on which side you are on. I am not an expert on what's happening in Idaho. I just know that, like, if you eat McDonald's French fries, yeah, that's gonna be massively affected by this major water fight that is going on, because over 500,000 acres of potatoes are at risk. Well, that's not all potatoes. It's 500,000 acres of farm ground, a lot of which is potatoes. Idaho is known for their potato crop. And so what will that do to costs and prices and everything else? I mean, McDonald's is already struggling. Have you been to McDonald's lately? So their economists keep coming out saying our regular consumer cannot handle the prices that we have to pay, that we have to charge. And McDonald's is worried because they're raising their prices and they know that us, their consumer, are breaking. So their economists are warning us, saying, hey, the inflation issue is unsustainable. Okay, well, ergo, here we go with another problem. We've got now this potato crisis and farming crisis in Idaho because of the water. So my thought with that potato crisis is going to be different than, you know, you have basically two sets of farmers. One set, the older farmers that have had water that is above surface, and now these newer farmers that literally turned the barren deserts of Idaho, sucking the water out of the ground, and then they created sustainability and all of these flourishing fields of that fertile soil into the potatoes that we all know and love. And so regardless of what's happening, there's going to be ramifications for you and I. So my thought here is, okay, we have a very complex water issue. But then what we have, we have the government coming and getting involved. My thought to you is that you don't ever want government to be involved, because we are just one government bureaucrat away from any given crisis. So in this case, it's water, which will affect potatoes. But that's why we homestead. That's why we try to get things in our own control, so that when that happens, and oh my gosh, potato prices are going to go through the roof. Are they going to be as bad as it was with the egg crisis and egg prices in 2021? Maybe. Now, I've told you in other videos that when the egg crisis came along through the 2021 shortages, we didn't even know. Well, I knew because I follow this stuff like way too closely. My wife didn't notice at all because her provider had taken care of her with backyard chickens and lots of feed for those backyard chickens. So we never suffered once with the egg crisis. Now, guys, I know not everybody can do that, but if you can, you should. And if you can, get on it. So now if we go into some kind of issue, a greater issue with potatoes, and I don't think we're going to ever run out of potatoes, but if we get into a situation where we have a massive inflationary issue with potatoes, you know, 500,000 acres is huge, but it's not like, oh, the death of potato. But like the cost of food is already high enough. And so when we start having these little things happening, it's just going to make it worse. That is why we homestead. That is why we prep. Being a prepper is no longer a bad stigma. It is no longer something that you want to avoid. You want to embrace it. We are all preppers. Again, back to the quote from Spencer W. Kimball. You know, in that parable given by the master in the Bible, all the virgins at one point were asleep. So 5 of them woke up early and they started to prepare. The other 5 woke up late. Like, they woke up. The waking up will happen. So burying your head in the sand will do you absolutely no good, because you will be forced at one point or the other to wake up. I think the message of the Bible is that you should wake up early. Why in the world would the Bible be filled with so much warning about the days of tribulation? I would argue that we are upon those days now, if not fast approaching. I would really like to spend 2 more videos coming up. This is a homestead channel, but I am threading the needle of why you do a homestead. And yes, I am a spiritual person. I'm not a perfect person, but I believe that the Bible, and I believe that these warnings are for all of us, for all of our benefit, to wake us up. And I want to share with you in a future video some thoughts on a prophecy called Ezra Eagle. And then I want to share with you another scriptural thing from the book of Revelation, talking about Mystery Babylon. I think that both prophecies, one by the prophet Ezra, the other by the prophet John the Revelator, are something that is imminently coming to a theater near you. And whether we want to be ready or not is irrelevant. It's going to come. So that's why we do it. You know, I mean, we are all so busy. And just a few short weeks ago, planting a potato garden seemed so stupid. It's like, potatoes are dirt cheap. They're plentiful. Until they're not. And then all of a sudden, like, the thing with that Idaho farming controversy that has me so riled up is that you have generational farmers who have millions of dollars invested in the ground with their potatoes. And then all of a sudden, this issue, which is a very real and complex and complicated issue, comes out after people have already planted. And so out of nowhere, this crisis ensues. And all of a sudden, maybe not, potato prices could, maybe not, go through the roof. So we do this kind of stuff to insulate ourselves. Now, if things get really bad, let's say that there was a massive type of cyber incident, it's not just potatoes, it's everything. So yesterday, if you were in Utah, a massive headline, all of a sudden people started pinging me. We had 80 different cities that had power outages, all within a few hours of each other. 80. Now, guys, I am conspiratorial. Again, the stigma of being a prepper and the stigma of being a conspiracy theorist, that's horse crap. You know who created the stigma behind conspiracy theory, right? You know how that originated, right? So if you do not ever want to, oh, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, go look it up. You have been played. You need to be looking into conspiracy, folks. Another video. So the conspiratorial part of me says, okay, 80 different cities, all within a few hours of each other. And they're saying that it's coincidence. Now, I get it. You have a fire in one location, you have wind in the other location, you had a car crash into a pole in another, but 80. So I was listening to, the news reports on it, and they're just like, coincidental power outages all throughout. And, some cities, they were without power for a few hours. And here in Manti, it was like 10 minutes, which is a long power outage because we use that lately. We've had very sustainable power. When we moved here, it was kind of a nightmare, but they seemed to have fixed it. So this 10 hours was like, and it was kind of a good reminder, like, whoa, what's happening? And then you start hearing that it's out in other places, and you're like, okay, what is it? So it caused me to think. And now I don't know, maybe it was just this remarkable power outage of 80 different cities all at once in Utah. Wow, neat. Enough to just singe our eyebrows and think, oh God, what would we do if it was something larger? So if you are a prepper, or if you have a homestead, or if you can and store food, or go buy canned goods at the store and just put away for a day of need, why wouldn't you? If you went through the last, 3 to 4 years with the world going mad, and if that wasn't a readiness activity for you to step into full fifth gear on prepping, then nothing will wake you up. Then you are the latter end of the 10 virgins. You are the 5. All of us have to wake up. Do you want to wake up before, or do you want to wake up after the crisis starts? Because for me, you actually take away anxiety if you wake up sooner and start preparing. So this message is applicable. Rather you have a 100-foot greenhouse, or rather you have grow beds, or if you can't garden at all, but you go to the store and you buy a few extra cans of those inflated food stuffs, you just do what you can. If you haven't you better start. It's never too late, because you need to do what you can at any given moment, but you need to get on it. That is my message. I want to emphasize it with much profundity. Now, we're going to stop and not smell the roses, but we're going to smell the citrus in Utah. So we are just coming upon 2 years in our off-grid greenhouse. I had a friend come and do an Instagram reel, and it got 1,200,000 hits. So the greenhouse is quite famous, which is kind of cool. It deserves to be. It's awesome. But again, my message is not come build my greenhouse. It's come and get some inspiration from upstairs, and then come down here and get to work. Whatever it is, get on it. I will do a 2-year kind of recap of the growth and success of the greenhouse. And just a reminder, if you are building a greenhouse, the different techniques and technologies that I employed here to achieve an off-grid greenhouse, a greenhouse that performs without needing electricity and fans. If you want to know what I did, my secrets are on the playlist, and then you go to greenhouse construction. There's another playlist, which is greenhouse updates. So you can weed through the politics and the spirituality, and you can go to those playlists if they're helpful. Okay, remember, like and subscribe. I will try to get some more videos out to you. I'm going on maternity leave, so you might be hearing way too much from me here in the coming weeks, because I will have a little bit more time as I'm playing doula, but also keeping the homestead running. With Becca taking care of our beautiful daughter. By the way, mom and baby are doing fantastic. I'm doing all the homestead chores. And so, I'll probably give you some updates of that. If you want to hear some thoughts about these other 2 prophecies from the prophet Ezra and the prophet John the Revelator, we'll do that. I think it threads the needle very closely about why we need to be about doing the work of our homesteads. All right, see you next video.